the Miraidon Master himself up against Shin Komiya, playing block Snorlax control, Pablo. Now, Kyle did not want to cast this one, but I'm excited for it. I love a little control.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. Block Snorlax came out in the Pokemon Go set, had a little bit of hype there. It's been a card that has been consistently in many people's minds. It actually had a little bit of success over in Japan, being played in the colorless Lugia list, which have been doing pretty well. We haven't seen that quite yet over here, but we're going to see Snorlax, and this Snorlax has a very solid chance at making it to top 8 if he goes through this incredible Miraidon player that is JW.
Some fun facts about our players here. JW has performed with Sting, which is pretty insane to think about. Competed for 13 years, favorite Pokemon Dragonite. Meanwhile, Shin has competed in Japan as well as over 5 years, and his favorite Pokemon, Espeon.
Espeon, very, very cool Pokemon for sure. And these prizes, 3 energies being prized, can be problematic against a deck that focuses on denying resources, and over on Shin's side, that Pidgeot V could actually be problematic. It helps you in preventing deck out scenarios if you manage a perfect lock. It helps you also to force Heal Stone for any given card that you need at any point. Shin is also playing the Rotom V, but of course you'd rather not have any multiple prize liabilities if you can on the field. So we'll have to see what tools Shin has against Miraidon. I would have loved to see the Belly Bolt. One line of Belly Bolt, you set that up, it's over for Miraidon, but that's not in this deck list. But there is Belly Bolt in day 2, I believe.
All right, here we go, round of 14. Looks like Shin is going to start things off here for us today. Block Snorlax in the active spot. Oh, no, it's going to be JW starting things off here.
Yep, JW with the tandem unit. Cannot retreat, cannot manually retreat the Miraidon, but there are 2 escape ropes and 2 switch cards as switching options. None of them were prized as far as I could tell, so should be JW should not have any trouble attacking with the right Pokemon. Now, if you see a block Snorlax, you have to imagine there's other sort of disruption or damage prevention, such as Mimikyu, right? So you do need to have a balanced field of not too many Pokemon, not too many liabilities, but also single prize attackers or non-rule box attackers. And you need to make sure that everything can be powered up. So it's going to be very important to manage your resources and your bench very correctly here.
I think the one benefit for JW in this matchup is that everything in the deck can technically attack. Yep. Even the Mew EX can copy Collapse from the Snorlax and be able to take a knockout there. You are going to have to be very careful on conserving those 2 switch card, 2 escape rope, like you were saying. And here, 2 Raikou V are the cards of choice for JW off that tandem unit.
Yeah, 2 Raikou V, decent choices. I feel like 2 is unnecessary when they're not going to be threatened in terms of getting KO'd. You'd only need 1. However, JW probably doesn't know exactly what Shin is playing. He doesn't know whether he can be aggressive or not, whether his Pokemon can get knocked out. So having powered up back-to-back attackers, definitely going to be important. And we do see the path to the peak getting played down. So I think a way to win for Shin here could be to trap something in the active, such as a Flaffy if that ever hits the field, because then you can potentially penny loop out of the very low damage output that they have. Mimikyu immediately gets played, and then an Iono, so JW does have ways to find other basic Pokemon, but he might be regretting a little bit playing that path to the peak down.
Not having access to Fleet-Footed for basically the entire game. There is 3 Temple of Sinnoh in Shin's list, but that's not a card you're going to play in this matchup. There's only basic energies in JW's deck. And speaking of basic energies, did not have one to attach turn 1.
Indeed, no energy attachment, which is exactly what you need to start pressuring Shin's deck. Shin on the other side might want to counter a path to the peak so that he has access to Rotom V. So we will likely see a Temple of Sinnoh. There's actually a Nest Ball. And the way to really try and have like penny loops, the way to be able to deny resources, you need a bunch of cards in your hand, right? So accumulating those with Rotom V is pretty important. However, you do establish that liability. So we'll have to see. Yeah, both players, I think JW playing very careful, not knowing exactly what he's up against. And then Shin appreciating the fact that there's no single prize Pokemon set up just yet. we'll have to see what tricks he's up to, and how he manages to create an ideal lock against JW, where his only win condition is decking him out.
It is all about trapping something in the active or preventing damage with that Mimikyu and its safeguard ability. JW does have some plays against Mimikyu as well, because it only prevents damage, so Mew EX can actually copy Ghost Eye, take the knockout if there's not a Bravery Charm on that Mimikyu, and then there's also Flaffy and Zapdos to be able to attack.
I think Zapdos is definitely the Pokemon that JW would love to establish. It actually does a significant amount of damage. It 2-hit KOs Snorlax, whereas Flaffy only does 50 damage, right? So that's if the Snorlax has a Bravery Charm, which JW, I believe, do not have any way to remove from what I can tell. And that means it takes 4 hits to get the Snorlax. That's plenty to be able to recycle resources with Xylene, Palpat, and they just have an impossible penny loop.
Rotom V was found off the Nest Ball Bravery Charm on that Rotom, but here is Escape Rope. Gonna force that Mimikyu into the active spot most likely.
Yep, Mimikyu relatively safe, right? As you mentioned, Mew can target it down. Mew might be JW's attacker of choice, utilizing Snorlax's own attack against it. And as you mentioned, can bypass Mimikyu's protection because Ghost Eye places damage counters and doesn't do actual damage.
JW now, after that Escape Rope, has Ultra Ball, discards Iono and Miraidon EX. We'll find what looks like a Mareep here. And then the last card in hand, pretty good. It's a Professor's Research.
Yep, never hurts to have last card Professor's Research. Does, like I said, has to be careful with the digging. I'm not a big fan of this Mareep. That's definitely a target that Shin will be eyeing up. However, JW did have to play an Escape Rope right now. Will have 2 switch cards available, which cannot switch out Flaffy, though. Maybe 1 Escape Rope will be enough, but if Shin is able to continually bring that Flaffy up, if it does get evolved, that could be problematic. I really would have preferred to see the Zapdos and just not risk the Flaffy at all, because even with 4 Crushing Hammers, even if all 4 are heads, you still have plenty of energy to have enough to power up your attackers and go through Shin's Pokemon, I feel.
Crushing Hammer. I don't even see Crushing Hammer in this list.
There you go. Yep. No Crushing Hammer. But JW doesn't know that, right? We have the privilege to be looking at the deck list. If you see Stall, if you see an annoying deck such as this one, you always assume there's at least some form of energy denial, right?
And there is a pass to the turn. Shin drawing a Peonia here. Has an Arven to go along with it, and I think that might be the card of choice here. Now, having attached the Bravery Charm to the Rotom V, that turns off your Forest Seal Stone from being able to be attached there and use Star Alchemy. So this Arven, not as good.
Not as good indeed. I definitely would appreciate the Peonia a little more. Try to unlock that Pidgeot from the prize cards. However, it will be that Arven. I mean, an extra Bravery Charm for the Snorlax is pretty good. A Bravery Charm for the Mimikyu could also be pretty good. Thinning in general gonna be important, and we'll have to see what Shin's plan is. I think he's the one that needs to react to what JW does. JW needs to slowly but surely apply pressure without using up too many of his resources, but I still think that Mareep, if that ever gets evolved, could be a mistake.
I spoke too soon. What a combo. Hisuian Heavy Ball able to search out that Pidgeot V from the prize cards to go along with that Forest Seal Stone. So pretty good route here. Maybe the Forest Seal Stone gets the Stadium bump, so you can end the turn by drawing a couple cards with Rotom V.
Yeah, I mean, you're committed to the Rotom V being in play. It is pretty nice that Rotom V with the Bravery Charm is sitting at 240 HP, so it's out of range of Miraidon's attack. It's out of range of Raiku's attack as well. Could then be picked up. So yeah, we could see the Path to Peak get countered through a Temple of Sinnoh and just start getting more resources, right? Right now, you're pretty safe. No way to accelerate energy onto the Mew unless Flaffy hits the field, and I generally don't think Shin would mind encouraging that at this point in time.
Well, there is that Star Alchemy from that Forest Seal Stone. Did not see the card that Shin eyed down, but it was very fast. So you would have to expect it's that Temple of Sinnoh here. And there it is, that play Temple of Sinnoh from those packs again. You'd love to see it.
And immediately shuffles back that Pidgeot V with Vanishing Wings, making sure that's not a liability, trying to get the most out of JW's resources, make sure he exhausts them all so that he can eventually have the perfect trap. And we do see the switch card onto the Snorlax and finishing the turn with a +3 draw from Rotom V. Now, as I mentioned though, the collapse attack will be used against Snorlax itself. However, the Pokemon does fall asleep, so that's another annoying thing that JW has to go through in order to continually attack. And some unlucky flips could buy Shin enough turns to make sure he has what he needs.
And like you were saying earlier, one escape rope down, that means just one left to be able to get something like a Flaffy out of the active spot. And Shin is really going to rely on these Misfortune Sisters to be able to look at the top 5 cards of JW's deck and discard any item cards found. And if you're able to hit switch cards and escape rope, it's very good. And JW needs to learn from me. Those electric generators not getting any energy.
With the electric generator, pretty big here. Now, JW does need one more basic Pokemon for Raikou to threaten the Snorlax. Also needs to invest a switch card if he wants to get that KO. Could also play it slow and just attach to the active and power up to be able to genome hacking that attack for the next turn. Yeah, so playing it slow and steady wins the race so far. And yeah, Bravery Charm useful in terms of making Mew more durable, but realistically, at this point, with what you've seen, I think you can get an idea that there's very few, if any, threats happening to your Mew.
Yeah, honestly, I just like keeping it in hand. Maybe it's just an extra card for a judge later on to make the deck bigger.
Yeah, to replenish.
Shin draws for turn. Boss's orders. There's that Misfortune Sisters in hand as well, but you have to start thinking this Mew EX is going to start attacking next turn, so you have to prevent either the knockout on the Snorlax or get a new one. Here is the Boss's orders on the Miraidon EX.
Just to draw +3, so slow turn for Shin. No Bravery Charm to protect that Snorlax from getting KO'd by the Mew. Will force a switch card out of JW if he wants to get a KO. And no backup Snorlax. Yeah, so both things could be a little problematic depending on what Shin drew. He also has a Snorlax prized as well. So forcing JW to go through like 6 Snorlaxes to get the most out of his resources could be problematic. So we'll have to see what Shin is planning for next turn. But JW finally going to be the aggressor here and take this first KO.
Using the switch cards, so now only 2 more outs to retreat Pokemon here. Does have the Ultra Ball, can go ahead and grab that Flaffy if he chooses. Dynamotor getting energy on something like a Raikou V. Or eyeing down that Zapdos.
Zapdos does feel a little bit of a waste if you can just tandem unit for it. We'll have to see what the choice is. You have control of when the Path to Peak gets into play, so I really wouldn't like to see a basic Pokemon get chosen, but I mean, of course, there's the freedom to do so. I also don't like the Flaffy hitting play ever, so yeah, I'm okay with this. I also don't like, though, the discarding of resources, as you mentioned. Like, the game might come down to buying yourself enough time to judge or something. I mean, you've seen the Pidgeot, but if you manage to stick a path, right, maybe the Pidgeot will, like if you win the Stadium War, then the Pidgeot cannot save Shin from decking himself out at that point.
And there is that restart from the Mew EX. Genome hacking, copying Snorlax for the KO.
And waking up immediately. That's a pretty big flip. We're going to see the Rotom, which does have free retreat. So that's always... Oh, no, it does not have free retreat. Pardon me. It can tank a hit. Scrap Short, of course, cannot. Or Mew is good, but it definitely won't have enough tools to copy to KO. And with a slower start, there's no other threat. So a chill turn here could actually be okay as well.
And for those of y'all new to the control matchup on stream, Shin's basically going to want to play just one game. There is no real route to victory if Shin loses game 1. Already 14 minutes down in the match. Really hoping to just play one long game, force JW to go through a bunch of single prize Pokemon, and hope it's enough. Bravery Charm, very good here on that Mimikyu. It's going to help protect it against the genome hacking on Ghost Eye.
Now that JW has locked himself on the bench, no Zapdos hitting play, the only way to deal with that Mimikyu is either Fluffy or Mew itself. But if you manage to trap literally anything else, then that Mimikyu could be impossible to take down. So that Flying Pikachu, it's good, but I really would have liked to see a Zapdos right there and just patiently power it up. So the fact that there's so many Pokemon into play means that with the energies that JW prized, if he doesn't have 15 energy total to power up everything to be a threat, right? So if Shin is able to capture something in the active, once all the energies are gone, that could also be another win condition.
Genome hacking, copying the scrap short, gonna be able to do 80 damage here, 40 plus 40 for every tool you put in the Lost Zone from your discard. Well, that Bravery Charm's not going to do anything to this card. Might as well get that extra damage out. It will allow Shin to use Penny to bring this Rotom V back up if he chooses.
I think if you're JW, you're really hoping to get a turn where you can KO Snorlax and play a Judge. And that makes Shin's response a little bit too difficult, right? Shin has not been able to establish a bunch of Snorlaxes in play. The active doesn't have a Bravery Charm, so it is in range of the Mew EX genome hacking once again. We do see the Penny, and that Bravery Charm could go onto the active Snorlax. But I think also having the Rotom V out of range of Raikou and out of range of possible Miraidon hit is also important. So lots of choices to be made, and as you mentioned, neither player will be able to likely finish 3 games, right? So we're likely going to only see this one, so you need to be extra careful with every action that you take.
Well, I think with the way the bench is now, Rotom V still could tank a hit against a Raikou V, so having that Bravery Charm on the Snorlax a lot better. JW's hand is not doing him any favors, though. Just a lot of energy, a Collapse Stadium as well, so attached to the Miraidon EX and a pass of the turn. In a couple turns, this Miraidon will be able to attack, take a knockout on the Snorlax, but Shin's going to hopefully have something to say about it.
Another Snorlax hitting the board. Shin further stabilizing and trapping JW. JW, like I mentioned, being extra careful, gathering more information and formulating a game-winning plan, I hope. But his bench looking a little underwhelming in terms of dealing with Mimikyu.
The third Bravery Charm on Snorlax on the bench that was just found with the Nest Ball. Shin still has an option for support of this turn and is going to look at the entire deck here. Pokegear 3.0 grabs boss's orders. Or I guess it wasn't the entire deck.
Yeah.
I was very
I was a little shocked by that. Like, already?
Surprised. Yeah.
No. There's still plenty of deck. And with Pidgeot, there's no threat of ever decking out as long as you have a stadium, right? If you're ever caught where JW plays the last stadium, which could be Path to a Peak, and then you can't shuffle back with Pidgeot, that could be problematic. But now we see the Misfortune Sisters. Can we hit
Escape Rope?
Escape Rope or Switch card?
Oh, that's 3 cards.
Switch card hitting the discard pile. That means JW is now down to 1 Escape Rope total.
All right, this is what Shin is wanting. You want to get rid of the resources that are actually going to help JW take these knockouts. Ending the turn with Rotom V yet again. Electric Generator off the top for JW. Has an energy to attach for the turn. But honestly, I think I like saving the energy in the deck just as more hits for Misfortune Sisters.
Yeah, honestly, thinning the deck of any resources here doesn't seem too great. Does hit 1 energy, will be able to place it down, maybe on the Raikou, on the bench, but as mentioned, there's only, like, if you're Shin, you don't know exactly how many energies JW plays, but if it's the usual standard, which is 14, right, or less, then there's not enough energies to power up everything. So eventually you should be able to trap something that will not be able to attack. every turn that goes by, I am fancying Shin's chances more and more. And even though now there's no more space on the bench because of that collapsed stadium, Shin definitely has a way to get rid of that. And JW very smartly protecting from an Echoing Horn play with that Super Rod.
Yeah, definitely a little bit hard because it's the one Super Rod.
Yep.
You're not able to get back more energies. Just has to put back a Raikou V and a Miraidon EX. And has that collapsed stadium in play, but you are right, trying to protect against Echoing Horn. Going to restart here for 2 cards. Finds Professor's Research. I don't believe he has played a supporter for the turn, but having to discard an energy and draw 7 cards from your deck is just helping Shin out more and more.
Now, we could have a huge turn upcoming here. Shin does have a counter stadium, and JW did draw this Squawk ability, so if he counters the stadium, takes a look at JW's hand, and is able to bench the Squawk. Oh, never mind.
Oh.
Well, we could see Stadium plus Echoing Horn. There's the Squawk. That could be a target, and that could be the Pokemon that Shin traps in the active that is 100% not a threat at all. I don't think with only one escape rope left, JW could do anything to bypass double ghosting effects onto that Squawk ability, which only does 20 damage.
And speaking of escape rope, JW just played it here to try and attack this turn. That means there's no more rope or switch cart left for JW, I believe.
I think Shin is very close to creating this not perfect lock, right? Because the Squawk can attack, but 20 damage is nothing. We're about to see Genome Hacking copy Mimikyu. Mimikyu isn't even going down thanks to this Bravery Charm right here, making it have 120 HP. And we also see the Flaffy hit the field as a potential follow-up to attack Mimikyus, but I'm not liking how this is playing out for JW.
I guess there is a route. Oh, wow. Temple of Sinnoh off the top as well. Not sure if he even had one in hand, but Echoing Horn brings out the Miraidon EX.
What?
Pokemon catcher here. Tails. I guess Miraidon's the same thing. It's 3 energy to attack.
But that can eventually KO, though. Why?
Pokemon catcher yet again. Heads.
What?
Brings up the Miraidon EX. Can eventually KO, but it is 3 energy, right? So there is 8 in play.
Right, but then why not choose something that can never KO? Like Squawk 10 hit KOs this Snorlax. That gives you all the time in the world to flip as many tails as you want with Silene and eventually recover. I do not understand why we did not see the Squawk hit the field of that Echoing Horn. It did get discarded, right, off of the research.
Pokegear does find Penny for Shin, though. Will be able to pick up this Mimikyu if he chooses.
Yep, so Mimikyu will be able to be healed here with Mew not able to KO it. Now we get the Miraidon being trapped, and JW is completely out of ways to switch. There's no Penny in JW's deck, so that Miraidon is now completely trapped as we see Shin start the cycle of putting back resources with Palpad and Silene to make sure you have the right resources to lock this game down.
The good old Silene Palpad lock that we used to see in Mew so long ago. Now, JW does have a ton of Pokemon in hand, and one way to get out of the active spot is to boss's orders something like that Rotom V and be able to retreat the active Miraidon, but that is just a 1-turn solution. Shin has at least 5 turns if it's just a single prize knockout after single prize knockout.
I will say, I think a path opened up for JW once that second stadium hit the board. Now JW has 2 paths to the peaks left. That means as long as the path to the peak remains as the stadium, Pidgeot V cannot use Vanishing Wings to continually replenish the deck, and Shin is continually playing more and more resources, assuming he can utilize Pidgeot in order to prevent his own deck out.
Misfortune Sisters discards Electric Generator from the top of the deck for JW.
It's going to be an interesting turn of events here, as it seems like both players are close to decking out. JW's deck looking very, very small as we see it on camera, but does have 2 copies of Judge. I'm not sure if any of them have hit the discard ball yet. See the 4th Bravery Charm hit the field for Rotom, and now Shin's board is looking fantastic. JW just draws and passes.
Yeah, all the energy is basically in play. Only, what, 5 left in the deck? And 2 of them are in the prize cards. Actually, 3 of them, depending on what prize card JW actually took, and 1 of the judge in the prize cards as well.
Yeah. So Super Art also gone, so not a lot of ways to replenish the deck. No ways to recover energies either of that Super Art in case there were any were hit the discard pile. Right. 1 was taken, but those other 2 feel like they're going to be there forever.
Big head split for the Silene here. At least 1.
1 heads. Probably going to put back Pulpad, I would imagine. I'm surprised we don't see double Silene in Shin's deck. I feel like that would be that would definitely compensate for a Path to Peak sticking on the board and not having the resource on the Pidgeot. So it might come down to that 25% chance of flipping double tails before JW ends up being the one who decks himself out. So gonna be an interesting close to this game 1.
Electric Generator does find 2 energies here, but you only need to attach 1 because you still need an energy to retreat.
And we see Judge, but you can't retreat though because of Snorlax's block. So,
well, in combination with the boss's orders in the same turn, but.
All right, so 9 energy in play, and if there's 13 total, that means with 2 of them being prized, there's only 2 energies left. That means Miraidon cannot attack.
Wow. Okay, Path to the Peak for JW, but Shin right away top decks that Temple of Sinnoh, and JW scoops up the game. Shin taking game 1 over Miraidon, which seems like kind of an interesting matchup, really back and forth.
It does seem like an interesting matchup. However, I generally think there's a much better way to play it. Just get that Zapdos out. You get Zapdos that can attack every single turn. You apply so much pressure that Shin needs to penny over and over and over. You know there's no way for your Zapdos to be damaged, right? You saw basically the whole of Shin's deck. There's no attacking threat. There's no way to take prizes. Just get that Zapdos powered up in the active. Cannot be stopped by Mimikyu. Cannot be stopped by Snorlax. It's not threatened at all. And then just overwhelm with pressure. I think that's the way to go. And that's what I'm hoping to see of JW in this game 2. I feel like that game 1 was definitely a big missed opportunity. Why go for that flying Pikachu? And then this Pokemon catcher head flip ended up trapping that last Miraidon, which I also would have loved to have that be a Squawk. I feel like the 20 damage would not have been enough pressure, especially if there's a Mimikyu to protect eventually as well. We'll have to see what happens here.
And this is where the matchup knowledge really comes in handy. Shin has been hopefully playing this matchup a lot. Miraidon has been creeping up in the standings throughout this entire month of regionals, and JW probably hasn't faced this deck very often.
Definitely not a deck that you would play against often, that you face against often, whether it's on the PTCG Live, whether it's at your locals. However, there's definitely been, I mean, I'm pretty sure JW has played these sort of decks in the past as well, with Rowlet, Executor, and Vileplume and sort of decks. So managing your resources, applying pressure. One way you can beat the stall decks is through not taking yourself out, but you definitely need to apply pressure. And wow!
Oh no, just a pass of the turn. Pidgeot V in the active spot. That's weak to lightning, Pablo.
That is weak to lightning. I feel like regardless of which attacker Shin had, as long as JW has any form of offensiveness here, we'll be able to win this game here when Shin just goes draw pass. So that is one way JW can take this series, if he's able to win 2 very quick games that do not go on for much longer. If the more time you give to Shin's deck, the more it disrupts you, and the more time it has to establish the lock that we saw last turn.
Even if it was just a Snorlax in the active spot, this Mew EX would be trapped for a few turns. But JW has Ultra Ball here. He's eyeing down that Miraidon EX. You can tandem unit for a couple more Pokemon. Eyeing down that Forest Seal Stone to go along with it, so maybe an Arven coming along.
Yes, Shin, like after winning that game 1 very decidedly, this must feel very, very underwhelming.
Only hopes and prayers here. prayers up in the chat.
JW eyeing up the Force Seal Stone, probably might choose to play the Arven instead in order to grab that and electric generator, but there's no other energy in the hand, which is unfortunate. We see, wow, just bench locking himself 100%. No single prize Pokemon. Did have the switch card in case he needed that. Choosing to play the Arven instead in order to grab the electric generator. We need 2 cards. No, we need 1 energy because, yeah, we just need 1 energy, right? 1 energy off the electric generator is enough for Raikou to take down that Pidgeot on turn 1.
Is there 1 in hand already?
There is no energy on turn 1.
Okay, so you need 2 energy.
No, because you can just grab the other one with Force Seal Stone.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, all right. 1, 2, there's the energy.
There we go. All right.
We're going to see a dunk to finish this game.
1 energy for Seal Stone, Star Alchemy. Grab another energy. And with that Lightning Rondo, takes the knockout. That is 120 damage times 2. And we're going to a game 3 here.
This is definitely an unexpected turn of events. You can see JW smile. Went for it. Odds were in his favor, I would say. Not 100%. You definitely had a good chance of hitting any energy. I even think that you're grateful that there's no energy in your hand because then you have maximum chances to hit an energy off of that electric generator. Just 1 is what he needed. Being able to directly search for the other one with a Force Seal Stone. Shin, if he had started the Snorlax, that would have been fine because then JW would have needed 2 energies and an attack with Miraidon and a switch card, or the Mimikyu would have been pretty great. Still in range of Zapdos, but we're going into a game 3.
Going into game 3, 20 minutes left in our round 14. Both of these players are sitting at 31 match points, so a tie could potentially lead to a double win and in for them next round. But both these players are hungry for a win here. It's going to be more skewed in JW's favor. He is the one that is able to win in 20 minutes. Shin, maybe not so much.
Now, I'm wondering if Shin chooses to go second just to prevent this dunk.
Oh, yeah.
Have a chance of playing a supporter, right? An Arven for an S-Ball. Does play 7 basic Pokemon only, so that's a very low amount. But with 4 Nest-Ball, for Arven, I think if you're going second, you should definitely be able to stabilize. I think we see a tie out of this round. And then that means, as you mentioned, both players in win and in scenarios. But of course, both players would have loved to just have the win and be able to ID the next one to make it to top 8 possibly.
And that is the reasoning why JW chose to go second in that second game of our match here for that exact reason. Here we're going to see the prizes, Mimikyu and Pidgeot V in the prize cards along with the Bravery Charm. Meanwhile, JW has Path to the Peak and that Mew EX along with that electric generator and 1 lightning energy.
Yeah, stadiums in the prizes, a big deal for sure. Couple Pokemon in the prizes for Shin as well, very impactful. The Mew, we saw JW really focus on that to attack with, can KO Snorlax and can deal with Mimikyu, so a very versatile attacker. But it's trapped in the prizes, it's at the very top, so we're probably not going to see that as we see the electric generator hits right here.
Really interesting to not see the tandem unit before the electric generator, maybe thin out a couple of Pokemon beforehand, but JW could just be playing this game very conservatively.
Yep, more conservatively than before. Loves that flying Pikachu V. We've seen it hit the board twice already. We do see the Force Seal Stone get attached, and JW might be trying to rush this win as he did the game before. However, Shin now choosing to go second will be able to Nestball for a Snorlax, and might be able to even Arven for the Hisuian Heavy Ball to get the Mimikyu out of the prize cards, which then forces JW to get other Pokemon. However, we did see JW completely disregard the Zapdos in that first game. So I think if you're Shin, you might want to discourage the Zapdos from coming into play. Maybe you don't even know if he runs it or not. We'll have to see what he decides to go for.
S-Ball eyeing down that Snorlax here. Again, not very many choices in Shin's deck, as the Rotom V in the active spot and Mimikyu and Pidgeot V in the prize cards. I'm pretty sure Snorlax is the only other choice.
Yep, Snorlax the only other choice. The deck only plays 4 Snorlax, a Pidgeot, a Rotom, and a Mimikyu, 2 of which are prize. So looking good here for Shin. Will go for that Battle VIP patch, just trying to have a full board of Snorlaxes to be as disruptive as possible. Can find the Mimikyu, later down the line. Might even be worth it to encourage JW to not see the Mimikyu, just never bench a single prize Pokemon or the Mew, right, which is actually prized, and then all of a sudden you can heavy ball later and then create a perfect unwinnable scenario for your opponent.
If there is a later. Arvin here searching for that Bravery Charm, a Battle VIP Pass. Battle VIP Pass is finding a couple more friends for Snorlax there. Be interesting to see if there's a way to get the Rodent V out of the active spot. But I believe outside of an electric generator should be able to stay on the field until next turn, especially with that Bravery Charm. There we go.
Yeah, Bravery Charm means Rotom will definitely survive this upcoming hit from Raiden. Then it can be pennied back up, or there's a Cross Switcher and an Arvin in the hand, which can be used to trap something in the active and make sure that Rotom V goes to the bench in case it cannot get healed just yet.
Arvin for JW is going to find that Bravery Charm and Electric Generator. Going to do a quick count of all the lightning in the deck. See if this Electric Generator has a good chance of hitting or not. 2 energies would be wonderful because there's no energy in hand. And you don't want to force Seal Stone for an energy.
Yeah, you don't want to. If you need to, then you go for it, but it's definitely one of the most underwhelming cards you can grab off of it for a Seal Stone, just because you play so many already, right? Now, we are going to see the Fleet-Footed first before, and we see the attachment immediately, almost, changing its mind, throwing the Uncertain card first. Now, there was a recent discussion on whether to Fleet-Footed first or Electric Generator first, and we did see JW do the Fleet-Footed first, and I believe his teammate, Jesse Parker, mentioned he always goes for the Generator first, so interesting to see the divergence right there. I'm team Fleet-Footed first.
For me, it really depends on what you're going for, right? If you're needing an energy to attach for the turn, I like Fleet-Footed first, and then you can Generator. But if you're not really looking for anything, you're just trying to hit maximum generators, I like Generator first.
Now, JW eyeing this escape rope in order to try and take a KO this turn, apply some sort of pressure. Both players must be very aware that with Game 3, with how long Game 1 was, even though Game 2 was super short, there isn't a lot of time left. So if JW wants any chance at winning this game, he needs to start being aggressive very fast right here.
And with this route, you're aggressive every other turn. Benches the Flying Pikachu V, which is interesting because that's just another Pokemon that gets stranded in the active spot for a little. 20 damage Paralyze isn't really going to do much for you.
Yeah, or the 120 damage Fly, it's also dependent on a coin flip, and it's not even enough to KO the Snorlax. So, big Pokemon Catcher flip. However, we can... Oh, another one. All right. There it is. Average brings up the Raikou instead of the Flying Pikachu. I am not understanding a lot of these decisions.
I guess that is a concession to the 3 bosses orders that JW plays in the deck, being able to boss up that Rotom V, get out of that block, and just use that free retreat on that Flying Pikachu.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. That is a way to get out of it. I guess if you only have a field of Snorlaxes, then trapping a Flying Pikachu makes sense, because the Rotom is a liability. But if, I mean, if they go boss Rotom, then you just penny it back up, right? So
yeah,
not necessarily, like Raikou is definitely not that big of a threat, and Raidon cannot take down the Rotom V right now with that Force Seal Stone. And we are finally going to see that Mimikyu out of the prize cards, making sure that JW needs to establish a different threat other than what he has in play in order to finish this game and draw all 6 prize cards.
That does leave that Pidgeot V in the prize cards, only to be fetched with something like a Peonia. Second Bravery Charm on that Mimikyu.
And draw 3 with Rotom, very nice. So JW will probably have to tandem unit. I really, really wonder if he's gonna tandem unit for a Zapdos or a Mareep. Doesn't have to do it now, right? Mimikyu's not in the active yet, but there is that threat now, so it has to be something in the back of your mind. Has disregarded the Zapdos so far. I would love to see it hit the field here as the only extra Pokemon that JW still establishes.
Arvin for JW will allow him to find Switch Cart to get that Raikou V out of the active spot, bring up Miraidon to take yet another prize on Snorlax. At this point, you kind of hope, if you're Shin, that he's going to be attacking into something like that Rotom V.
Yeah, actually, really dislike the fact that Shin went ahead and played the Pokemon Catcher last turn. Miraidon's own effect, Photon Blaster, does not allow it to attack the next turn. So holding off, you were guaranteed for the Miraidon to either not attack, or if you bring up the Raikou, they still need the switching card regardless.
Well, there is that switch cart. Miraidon will Photon Blaster take the knockout. JW down to 4 prize cards now. A good grip of cards in Shin's hand compared to JW. Only has 5, but we do see a Judge hiding out.
Judge could be big to replenish or to take away resources from Shin's hand that keeps on accumulating. With that Rotom's ability, we're going to see the next Snorlax hit the field, and no threat against the Mimikyu just yet. Another big thing is that JW's Mew is prized, which is a great answer to both Snorlax and Mimikyu. So even if JW fetches either the Zapdos or starts powering up a Mareep into an eventual Fluffy, that won't happen immediately. And
Miss Fortune Sisters. Super Rod. Okay.
Super Rod. A good card to hit. Denies resources. Denies protection from Echoing Horn, which Shin did play in game 1. So whatever Pokemon you end up discarding will be there for the taking with that Echoing Horn. So that could definitely be problematic.
Instant charge to end the turn yet again for Shin. JW now eyeing down an Ultra Ball here. The Ultra Ball doesn't make too much sense here, especially with Tandem Unit available.
Yeah, maybe JW. I mean, thing is deck, still no Zapdos though. I really want to see the Zapdos. Why is Zapdos not hitting the field? Zapdos deals with Mimikyu. 2-hit KOs. Bravery Charmed Snorlax. What is 50 damage going to do? Fluffy's attack Electro Ball, if I'm not misremembering, it's just not going to do much, right? It 3-hit KOs the Mimikyu. It's just not enough pressure.
Way to go. Good job on that attack name.
Thank you, thank you. I'm actually pretty proud. Remembering all the attack names of all the cards is not necessarily easy, but we do see the Judge denying resources, yet there's no threat right now. So I feel like Judge is best combined when you're applying pressure and taking a knockout, so that your opponent doesn't have an easy response to what you're doing. Playing a Judge and saying pass, yes, you disrupted them. What's Shin gonna do? Redraw cards, and there's no threat to him, you know?
Electric Generator does grab 1 energy, and we see a retreat to use Fleet-Footed.
Yep, Snorlax not preventing that retreat, which is great. It is 1 less energy as well in the field, and Zapdos. Zapdos is just in the hand, waiting to be called upon battle, but I guess it's not time.
Speaking of no time, under 9 minutes left to go in this game 3 of our round 14 here. Shin looking like he's not going to be able to close out this game, especially JW's turn took about a couple minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah. Now we do see the Erika's Invitation off the Pokegear, which is a way to look at the hand, and you may, or you cannot choose. If you find a basic Pokemon, you have to place it on the bench. So Shin might actually be doing JW a favor by putting that Zapdos into play. Probably should choose
Miraidon.
Definitely not the Zapdos. Zapdos is the key Pokemon, but making sure you put that up in the active spot just makes it extra annoying for JW at this point, and you get extra information on what they have in their hand.
It was important to note, no Path to the Peak down for JW that last turn after the Judge, so Shin still able to kind of build this hand back up with instant charge.
Yeah, nothing in the hand for JW. Has a boss, cannot attack this turn, no energy, can search for the Fluffy, though, can definitely search for the Fluffy. And this is where you wonder, why are we Ultra Balling away 2 Professor's Research to find a Mareep when you can Tandem Unit for it and keep those research, find energies. You're not applying any pressure. It feels like we're playing for the tie now.
Especially with the way JW has thought over this hand. 7 minutes to go. sometimes when you're up against a control deck like Shin's, it's all you really can do is play for that tie, especially after sneaking out that game 2 victory with a turn 1 knockout.
Seems like we are going to see the Fluffy hit the board. There are a few energies in the discard pile that can be replenished, but once again, you're not threatening. Your only answer to Mimikyu is now that Fluffy at least, but 3-hit KOing a Mimikyu, 4-hit KOing a Snorlax. It's just very, very underwhelming at this point in time. I guess we do have the Force Seal Stone to do something of significance this turn. And that Escape Rope, not bad, will maybe get you a KO on a Snorlax or let you attack the Rotom. If Shin is holding a Penny, then probably Rotom will be the Pokemon to be brought up. There's the Escape Rope.
Yeah, 2 Snorlax already knocked out from Miraidon. And there is that Rotom V in the active spot. Fleet-footed is going to draw an extra card for JW here.
Iono off the top, so might be able to draw a few extra cards if he wants to. Energy preemptively attached to Fluffy, recognizing that that's probably one to be attacking. But I feel like a field of 1 Raiden, 1 Raikou, and 1 Zapdos is what I would love to see you go for in this matchup.
I really love JW motioning the shuffling of the 1 card in his hand before he puts it on the bottom with Iono, but did not offer the cut to Shin, so missed opportunity there. Energy for the turn potentially on Miraidon. Nope, looks like there was already an energy attachment, maybe. No, there was electric generator, I believe, was the energy attached.
I don't think we've seen an energy attachment for turn. I don't think it's super relevant.
Well, the relevant thing now is taking time to decide if there was an energy attached or not for this turn, which I don't believe there was. Just the Dynamotor, there was the retreat of the Miraidon to the Raikou. The Raikou attacked last turn.
Yeah, I think in the grand scheme of things, unless we see a 10-minute time extension, this game's not finishing.
Yeah.
Unless Shin somehow whiffs the heal here, though. That could be big. No penny in Shin's hand could actually mean JW is now down to 2 prizes, and he might have the resources as long as he establishes the Zapdos, yeah, in order to deal with that Mimikyu decisively, right? But if he's going to rely on Fluffy to 3-hit KO the Mimikyu, that's definitely not going to fly.
Yeah, Fluffy doesn't have wings.
Fluffy.
Zapdos does.
Well, it's Halloween, though.
Oh, sure.
It could be a disguise Fluffy.
Lightning Rondo, 160 damage on the Rotom V.
There is a penny.
There is a penny. There wasn't in hand before.
Oh, no, it's a boss's orders, actually. That's my bad.
I'm pretty sure we'll find one here, and there's that penny. There wasn't in the hand before. Iono put all the cards to the bottom, so you have a lot better odds to try to find it off of the 6 and the Pokegear, and it looks like Shin did just that.
Yep. Penny will be the card of choice. But yeah, time is of the essence, and it feels like neither player is in any rush for this game to finish. I feel like we're watching Game 3 of Round 9, as we did yesterday, where time was of the essence. 15 minutes was definitely enough to finish that game, and neither player had any sort of rush. And yeah, now you put up the Mimikyu. Maybe you don't even rebench the Rotom. I guess you do, but there's no threat to your Mimikyu. JW is running out of resources to boss, to attack the bench. You know, can only get 1 prize card. That Rotom is not able to be KO'd anytime soon. So looking a little bit dicey for JW. I think if we had enough time, I really like where Shin is standing at right now.
Yeah. And I feel like Shin has played this matchup a lot to where you kind of feel confident going into it, especially when your opponent isn't prioritizing that Zapdos like you've been saying.
Yeah.
Fleet-footed does find a boss's orders, though, so that will allow JW to bring up that Snorlax without the Bravery Charm. Let's see, there's 7 Pokemon in play, so that is enough to take the knockout with Raikou V.
Yep, and powering up the Fluffy. Just tandem unit for Zapdos and power that up. Why are you not doing that?
Path to the peak, and there is a knockout. 3 prize cards left for JW, but there's a Temple of Sinnoh right off the top again.
Immediately. Very nice draw right there. I feel like, yeah, Sydney gonna discard that Path to the Peak. Pretty big hit. And then we're going to see Echoing Horn, no Zapdos. Yeah, the best Pokemon never hit the field, unless Shin chooses this out. No, what?
Oh, wow, okay.
Why?
Zapdos on the bench now, finally, but not by JW's choice.
Why? Zapdos is the one single prize Pokemon that can be powered up and is an actual threat.
I don't think it matters anyway. Just over 2 minutes left in our game 3 here. Both players pretty far away from doing much anything, but there is another boss's orders from JW. Brings up Rotom V. No Path to the Peak, though, thanks to the Sydney discarding it on Shin's turn. So another penny could help out here.
Another Stadium off the top. Does have the switch card, though. So even if he can't penny, he can definitely put that back. But there is a penny as well, so no issue there. Mimikyu up top. And maybe JW will finally decide to power up the Zapdos. But does he even have a way to retreat into it? Are there any... I think one switch card has been utilized already.
One switch card and one rope, I believe.
Yeah.
Palpad shuffles back 2 penny back in the deck. Those are going to be needed if this Flaffy decides to get the ball rolling with Electro Ball against this Mimikyu to try to 3-hit it.
Yeah, now Zapdos can't 1-KO the Mimikyu because its own ability does not help itself. Lightning Symbol does increase the damage. I guess with Lightning Symbol, Flaffy actually 2-hit KOs the Bravery Charm. Oh no, it's only the basic Pokemon. Never mind. There you go. Yeah, finally we see the Flaffy. Imagine if that was a Zapdos. Yeah, you threaten. Finally, energy goes to Zapdos. Finally.
Just over a minute left. 50 damage on the Mimikyu. I guess there is the threat of retreat to Zapdos after charging it up and taking the knockout on Mimikyu. So maybe Penny should be an option for Shin this turn. 1 minute left to go. There's the Arven.
Arven for Super Rod, get enough resources back. This Mimikyu might go down, but thinning the deck, drawing 3 extra cards with the Rotom. As long as you find a penny, that Mimikyu can be saved. And then how do you get out of the Snorlax lock with your Flaffy in the active? It's not looking great for JW. I feel like if we had 3-4 minutes left, we would probably be able to see Shin take this down. This Zapdos, though, this Zapdos is a big, big missed opportunity for JW. His pressure would have been so much higher against Shin. You 2-hit KO everything except the Rotom, I guess. But then you just go draw attack, draw attack, draw attack, draw attack for the rest of the game.
Switch card does heal off 30 damage from that Mimikyu. Promotes the Snorlax with the Bravery Charm to the active spot. So JW is going to need something like an Escape Rope or just Electro Ball here. But it seems like with time called, that is a tie. And JW, it feels like he squeaked one out here.
JW definitely, that donk in game 2 allowed him to get this extra point. But I also feel like he goes for Zapdos. We have a completely different game 1. All you need is Raikou, Raiden, Zapdos. Call it a day. 9 energy. Even if they play energy removal, you have plenty of extra energy. You have Super Rod to put them back. Don't research away anything that can be Echoing Horn back. Did start the Mew, right? All right, power up the Mew. Mew is also a threat to both Snorlax and Mimikyu thanks to its own attack. So that's all you need to do, right? That's generally all you need to do, and then you're good to go. Your opponent puts up Rotom V to protect from Mew KOing it. Now you can retreat, right? And get a big hit in, and then you're threatening to hit KO on everything.
Well, here is our game 1. Boss's orders up from Miraidon EX. Instant charge. That's pretty much every turn from Shin that we've seen throughout this match. Do something to disrupt JW. Draw 3 cards to end the turn. JW does have that genome hacking, though. Takes the knockout on Snorlax. But again, already having that full bench there, just having the Mareep available, not really able to do too much. And then here we see Pokemon Catcher heads after that Echoing Horn on the Miraidon EX, brings it to the active spot, and there is so many energy in play that JW is not really able to deal with much of anything. And it does a very smart quick scoop, but half of the time has gone. And this was the exciting game 2 where just a pass of Pidgeot V, JW forcing Shin to go first and hitting that 1 energy off Electric Generator And then for Sealstone grabs that second one, takes the knockout, and we go to a game 3 with under 20 minutes left to go.
Indeed, and 20 minutes against a stall deck is like your worst. It's like a Halloween nightmare, right? Like it's really, really tough.